Welcome to the Entertainment Rants Podcast, your number one source for all things entertainment. Join host Marco Mazzola and his fellow ranters as they sound off on the latest movies, TV, and the world of entertainment. Now, here are your ranters for the hour, Marco, Mila, Larry, and Bruno.
Hello again, everybody, and welcome to the Entertainment Rants Podcast. I am, as always, your host, Marco Mazzola, and with me are all of the ranters. Let's go around the room and say hello to Larry.
Hey, hey.
Hello, Mila.
Ew.
Hey, Bruno.
No one in the world gets what they want, and that is beautiful.
I love it. Bruno's
So
back.
awesome.
Bruno's back, baby.
There it
Ladies and
is.
gentlemen, we are brought to you by the Subculture Podcast Network. Find us online at bio.link/Subculture Pod Network. There you can check out other amazing podcasts like The Trekker's Delight, the Iconist Podcast, Rebel Rock Radio, the Dork Wars Podcast, of course, and others. So let us know what you like to hear, and if there's other ones you want us to bring to the channel, and we're happy to reach out to them. So let's get on it today, gang. We are talking about Ready Player One. We're up to date.
Yeah.
We're working on something. This came out when? Is there a date on this one?
2018.
2018.
2 hours and 21 minutes.
Feels like it was longer than that. Like it was not longer in terms of time. Like it came out
Well,
earlier.
the book came out.
Yeah, the
earlier.
book came out earlier. I read the book a long time ago. I feel like the movie was not 8. I thought it was like earlier than that, like 15, 13. I don't know why. I feel like this movie's been out for longer than that, but I guess I'm very wrong. It's just a perception thing. Time is all relative.
I would say it's a perception thing.
Yeah.
I was like, while I was watching, I was like, when did this come out? 2019, 2018? And
I
it was
think
like,
the book
I
was
like, yeah.
2011,
Something like that, yeah.
and then the movie 2018.
Yeah. I mean, I loved it. Let's go around the
that's
room and
pretty
get our
sweet.
opening thoughts on the movie itself. Who wants to go first? Everybody's staring at me. Let's do Mila. Great.
Oh, hey, what's up? I liked it. I thought it was pretty cool. I don't know why right now, but I don't think I'm going to be thinking about this much in the next few days. But at the moment, I thought it was a pretty good movie. I thought it had a pretty solid story, some really fun action. I just found it an enjoyable movie, personally.
All right, that sounds good. That sounds good. Larry?
I'm not too far behind Mila on this one, actually. It was a fun watch, you know. The nostalgia for me was awesome because it's literally everything.
childhood,
It's our childhood, right? I know, Bruno, you were a little bit older, but when everything that
Well,
it's
the guy that wrote
referencing.
the book is basically my age, so like
Well,
he took everything from like our childhood and just
And just put it on. So
Threw it in the movie
it's
in the
funny though
book.
because if you do the time right, so this movie takes place in 2046. That would put the owners in the mid 70s. That's how old they would be. It's mid 70s.
Right.
While they're running around doing stuff, and I was like, they're kind of old. Wouldn't they have retired by now anyway? I didn't get the owners didn't
that's
look.
probably true. Yeah.
Yeah, the owners didn't look. I mean, they looked older.
Well, they said in the movie they said that Halliday started building the OASIS in 2025, so that's a year from now.
Right? No.
Yeah. Can't wait.
Which is
All
crazy.
right.
I mean, it's
Always
really,
so-
and we'll
is
get there, but
feasible
like,
at
yeah,
this
that's what I was
point.
gonna say.
We're
with the technology,
we're getting there.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
We don't have the computing power yet to do it quite like that, but we're probably only 5 years away from an Oasis kind of experience or something.
I hope
I say
not.
the closest
I
thing we
fucking
have
hope
to this
not.
right
No, you
now,
won't get
I
like the
think
full
is
haptic.
yeah. I think the closest
Well, no,
thing
that
we have
attitude.
to
Jesus,
this.
man, step it up. Let's go. Because they have stuff like that track that you can
Yeah.
run around on. They have that. It's a little different. Like this little thing goes around your waist.
Yeah,
Yeah, oh, yeah,
There's an arm to it. Yeah,
something.
They do have
That, yeah, I have seen ones like
unidirectional
that.
Yeah.
travel plane, and they
Yeah.
do have those things. They don't slide. The one that I saw has a guy basically almost in like a quarter of a bowl.
Right.
Where it's slippery and you can just move in that.
Yeah.
But it's I mean,
It's coming.
it's on its way.
It's coming.
It's
I mean,
it's
haptic
not
stuff
a
is around,
huge-
so I don't think that like the body haptic stuff like that wouldn't be that far off.
I've heard they have
technology-wise.
been. I feel like they have been
Cost-wise.
working on stuff like this. They,
Oh,
like
yeah.
they are definitely working on stuff like this. I've heard
100%.
of this happening.
Consumer
the
cost
Oculus-
wise, I was going to say.
the
Yeah, we're
Oculus
far away from that.
was no, the Oculus development system is essentially like step one.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
put it over and you get fully immersed because of the visual, and then you start getting haptic suits and haptic gloves that already exist. Like all of the tech is fully within our reach. Like we can absolutely, make this happen. It's just a matter of, it just hasn't been put together quite yet. You know.
Yeah, but I'm sure somebody's working on it.
Yeah. I'm
A
sure
lot of times, art, it advances what actual technology and stuff like that.
Yeah. At the moment, I think the closest thing we have to that, like game-wise, would probably just be VR chat, where you can just go around, talk to a bunch of different people who have different skins, who you can play whatever game you want, like within the game. And you can meet in different places as well, but yeah, I think that
that's essentially a very stripped down version, but yeah,
there already is like a fundamental version of OASIS technically.
I mean, all of this was already, you're exactly right, Mila. So I want to say version sort of maybe 2.0 of it was like when World of Warcraft came out. You're not in a haptic suit, interfacing with the world, but
right.
You're essentially you're on the keyboard interfacing, but you've got an avatar who you've skinned essentially however you want to, given a certain amount of races,
and stuff.
And you can travel in the world, you can interact with all those players, you can PvP, you can do all sorts, you can trade stuff. So like just change that interface a little bit. You've got the OASIS essentially.
Yeah.
And then I just, bring some more tech to it.
I mean, for me, it was a lot of, it made me think of when AOL first came out. It was really big when AOL 2.0, 2.2, right in that land, where a lot of people doing like the whole online role playing. You would go into certain rooms and private rooms, and you would create like, it was essentially D&D but online, and you would have these people that would get so wrapped up into these characters that they started. And this is part of like, and I'll talk about that. Like, I literally saw people like fall in love, like I can't wait to meet this person. I'm like,
oh, yeah.
You have no idea who's behind that fucking keyboard. Like legit, like they talk about. It's like it could be a 300-pound guy named Chuck living in your basement.
Hey, I'm not feeling really good about myself right now. Settle the fuck down, Jesus.
Okay, well your name's not Chuck. Don't worry about it. I'm not talking about you.
Yeah, you and your code names.
But like that's what would happen. Like you would see these people like, oh no, I've been talking to this person and they feel like they actually know them. I'm like, you have no fucking idea who these people are.
That happened a lot.
So right,
that still happens.
That
is not slowed down.
It's straight up catfishing, right? But before it wasn't anything. But now it's like we all know about it, and it still happens. So when I was watching this, and when he was like, "I'm falling in love with it," and she's like, "You don't know," and I'm like, "Oh my god, this is every like online role playing scenario come to like real life. Like this is, but worst case scenario." And it's like, holy fuck, and that's why I don't want OASIS to happen. Like we're already kind of sort of there now, because when I'm watching this movie, everybody was involved. There was no real life. Like nobody had a real life.
That was the message of the movie, right? At the very end, Halliday was like, "Listen, there's a real world out there, and
go touch some fucking grass."
And then so at the end of it, Wade
takes over.
Wade was like, "We're shutting it off
Tuesdays and Thursdays."
So like that is the message that you're trying to send. Like, look, this is an escape for some people, and it kind of makes sense, but you can't throw yourself 100% into this.
Oh, they waited a long time to do that. Because, I mean, you had people that were living in the slums, and they couldn't afford to fucking put food in their fridge, but don't worry. They all had a VR hand and gloves, and everybody's doing something. I'm like...
Yeah, but that's how they were making their income, essentially, right?
Yeah.
Like that, unfortunately. They were conducting things online. Everything was conducted online. Imagine you take a VR world, and then you just throw, like, Amazon in there, and now you're getting deliveries like, we're almost there. It's scary. Yeah, I agree with you 100%. It's scary.
I mean, that's what I saw like right out the gate. When I was watching this, I was like, dude, everybody has.
I say bring it on.
Yeah, I mean, good. We'll never see you again. You'll be trapped in a a room all day.
They even had the drone deliveries, right? The delivery shows up at the stack.
Yeah, with the pizza, and they're like, pizza's here, kids. Like nobody leaves their fucking house. And I'm like,
I just saw a report. Walmart is already doing that for some percentage of their customers. They're doing drone deliveries.
Amazon has been doing it too.
Amazon is doing that.
I don't know if they ever dove into it though.
They started to, and they were like the robot ones, and people were going down the street. People were like kicking the shit out of them.
Oh.
People were like literally just busting them over and stuff like that. Like, you gotta be careful because you have that good stuff, and then somebody's gonna screw with it. And people were just like knocking over the robots and stuff like that. You think a porch pirate's bad? We just sit there with a crowbar.
Porch pirates? Is that what we call them?
Yeah, that's what they call them.
That's what they're called?
Yeah.
People who are stealing
fucking
stuff
thieves.
off the porches.
They call porch
Bunch
pirates.
of fucking thieves,
That's exactly
bastards.
what they are.
Yeah.
So who wants to go through like the description? Like we kind of danced around it, but we never really described the movie yet. What's the synopsis?
There you go, Bruno. That's you.
All right. So then the synopsis essentially is that Wade is like a poor kid from the slums. They call them the stacks, and they literally take like RVs and they stack them up on top of each other, and they live there. And then his parents passed away, so he's living with his aunt and whatever rando guy
Her latest boyfriend.
dating, yeah. And he escapes into the Oasis a lot like everybody else does. And you've got this guy Halliday who created the Oasis with his partner Ogden, and Halliday passed away and set up an opportunity for somebody who solves the 3 riddles, gets the 3 keys to open the portal and get the golden egg. And the golden egg would give him the opportunity to essentially own the Oasis and all the assets and control it. And so for 4 or 5 years, everybody tries to find it, and nobody finds it. And then the whole story is the story essentially of how Wade, finds it with the help of his 4 other friends. And then they eventually find it, and
of course you got the B company.
Then you get the company IOI, which is like the bad guys, with Sorrento is the bad guy that runs IOI, and they're trying to get it because they want to control the Oasis because they want to monetize it and essentially use advertising all over the place and make even more money. They're like the second biggest company in the world. And the Oasis is like the first biggest company, so they want to become the biggest.
I mean, they basically advertise, do stuff on the Oasis. That's what they do. They monetize it, but if they own it, they can do everything they want with it.
That's right. And so they're the bad guys, and they've got unlimited resources at their command, and then just like.
And that's usually in the future continues. They have hitmen and people that go after the people in the real world.
Yeah.
That happens all the time. Yeah. So.
And they take advantage of that. You don't know that this person's a 300-pound guy named Chuck instead of a woman. Yeah. And H ended up being that.
Yeah. It's funny. I pegged that immediately. I was like, literally like 30 seconds into the character, I was like, oh, that's a woman. That's a woman. Yep. I know that's a woman. And then it was like, they opened the door, and I was like, oh my God, it's a woman.
You don't say. What?
In the book, they do a much better job of concealing it because obviously there's no sound, there's no visuals. Yeah. You just read what's on the page. Right. And they don't bring that to light until the very end, like the last chapter in the book. Wow. You don't know anything about H other than, because the book is 100% different. Like the book and the movie have almost no similarities other than like the names of the characters.
Which is frustrating, but you get it in some respects.
Yeah, it's very, very different. It's better, I would say, but it's just different. In the book, it's like callback after callback after callback. Every Atari game, every Nintendo game, every pop culture.
Was the 66 Batmobile in there? I don't remember.
I don't remember.
That was fucking awesome. I'm sorry, that was great. When that Batmobile shows up, I literally screamed. I was like, yeah. I watched this at home. I never saw it in the theaters. I saw this at home for the first time.
Yeah. I don't know. I think like the first major riddle was solved in the book by going through an old Dungeons and Dragons adventure, one of the like original classics. And they didn't even touch on that.
No.
Dungeons and Dragons did not even come up. It maybe was referenced to.
Remember in the movie on the back of her van there was kind of a weird gargoyle face.
Oh yeah.
That is their callback.
The D&D callback.
That is the
spray paint on the back of the truck.
I mean, you'd have to know, right? There's you'd have to know.
Oh yeah.
There's a module called Tomb of Horrors. That's what that's from, and that was the module you ran through in the book to solve the first riddle. So that was like the callback in the movie. But it was real different, but it was good. I thought they probably couldn't get the rights to all that stuff.
Yeah, I did hear that. There was definitely rights issues. A lot of familiar things, though. There was definitely a rights issue with that. Like anything that had that much property in it, there was definitely some rights issues.
Oh my God! It would have cost them.
Even though it was Spielberg, you know what I mean, and most people were like, "Oh, it's Spielberg, we can do this." Money comes down to money. What it'll take, and some people just don't want it. They're just like, no, we pass. You know what I mean? But a lot of times it just comes down to money. It's not worth it. You go with something else.
Yeah,
and make it happen. Cool. Yeah, it was a Warner Brothers movie, right? Did it come out from Warner? I forget who produced this. Was it Warner Brothers, Universal? I forget.
I don't know.
Because there was a lot of Warner Brothers property into it, like the Batman stuff and things like that. There was a lot of stuff like that in there. So.
My brother worked on it.
Did he?
Yeah.
Why do I feel like I knew that and I forgot? He told me that at one point. Yeah, he probably told me at one point.
Yeah.
I check in with him every once in a while, see what he's up to.
Yeah.
See what he's working on. Yeah. Yeah, I haven't even gone through it. I love the movie. It's one I'll go back to every once in a while. It's mostly because of the nostalgia portion of it. I will go back and see if there's shit I missed.
Super nostalgic.
Yeah, I mean, you get the Iron Giant.
Well, the whole thing was nostalgic. Everything.
Yeah. It's fun to go back and like I said, it's these RoboCop. It's fun to go back and see if you missed something.
Yeah.
All the battle scenes.
So much. Yeah.
If you slow down when they're on Planet Doom, you slow it down and just like do a freeze frame, you can count like all the different characters. They've got them all represented.
Yeah, it's pretty cool to do that.
It is.
But again, at the end of the day, I did enjoy the movie. I liked the characters, the actors who they chose to play the different characters. I enjoyed. Overall, it was fun. It was fun for me. Like I said, it's very different than the book, which I'm okay with. I'm in some respects. Sometimes I'm okay with that. Sometimes I hate that when they go so off the topic. But it was all right. I understood why they did that. I've not read the second one.
I did. I don't think it's as good.
No.
Yeah.
It's more of a cash grab for a book, or?
I wouldn't say it was a cash grab. I think he wrote a book that was a big hit because it was a nostalgia. It was a walk down memory lane for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And then he was probably like, this, it might have been a cash grab.
Yeah,
he was probably like, all right. But like,
I got a few more nostalgic things I can throw in a book.
I think he tried to write a good book. I just don't think there was a good way to continue that story. Yeah. Right? He is
where they left it, at least in the movie, it was fine. Like I got it.
He's the richest person on the planet. He controls the biggest company on the planet, and he's controls like everybody's life essentially. And like, and then so they continued on with it, which he probably went the only direction you could go. But like it was not as riveting, and there weren't nearly as many callbacks. And the callbacks that were there, you're kind of like, all right, we've done this now. Like all these callbacks again. If that's what this is, going to be another walk down memory lane. Like it's kind of like when you're looking through, let's say you find some old photo albums, and you flip through them in the first half hour, you're like, oh my God, look at this photo. Oh my God, look at this one. And then after like the third album, you're like, all right, I'm good. Like I got this.
I keep saying the same people over again.
We'll save this for later, maybe.
I keep saying the same people over and over again.
Yeah, when I've forgotten all this shit, I'll start on this one and we'll continue. So that's kind of what it felt like.
That's kind of how it was halfway through this movie, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And so there were certain parts of that I was kind of taking out because it's like, all right, cool. How many of these fucking callbacks would we do? And then I actually kind of sort of started to get a little bit mad because I'm like, and the reason why, you can hit your head all you want. It was cool for us because it's literally
mad at the movie, standing on his chair, shaking his hands.
It was cool for us because it referenced stuff that we grew up with, right? Yeah. Now, obviously, this is what the creator grew up with, but where's the nostalgic connection? Like, why would all these people this kid wasn't even fucking born yet? He was 20 when. In this movie, so I'm saying, so it's like all that nostalgia stuff was based on.
You know what? I want to piggyback
from the book, though. I'll go ahead. You make your point.
I want to piggyback off of what you're saying. If like this is all happening in this span, wouldn't you see a lot more recent stuff too?
Like their stuff,
like really recent stuff.
Yeah, I can explain.
Yeah. I saw Overwatch and I saw Halo, which is great. But like it was all still like it's so funny. Every time there's like a video game, like I don't know, a movie that's about stuff that happened in the past, it's always like literally the 70s, 80s, maybe 90s.
Right, and this one takes place like fucking 2040. So I'm like
they don't even really take into account that nostalgia in that age would be
the 20s,
this now,
the 13s, the 10s.
You know, like the 10s and the 20s.
But there's a reason for that.
So the reason is, and you guys bring up super valid points, given that maybe you've only seen the movie, right? Because I think they missed a lot of this in the book. Halliday was born like when I was born, essentially. So he grew up in the 70s, 80s, 90s, and whatever, right? Mm-hmm. So then he started writing whatever he wrote in 2025. But he threw, in the book, all of the challenges that he threw in there, like the riddles, were from like the 70s, 80s, 90s. Like they're all from like way, way back, not like
his time,
2010, 2020.
Right.
They were his nostalgia.
Yep.
And so when he wrote all these riddles, that's what it was. Now, then, when he died and he created this whole thing, there were all these people like, I'm gonna win all this money, and in order to do that, I've got to learn all about him. I've got to learn all about his life and all of his loves. And so when they did that, they were called Gunters, egg hunters, right?
Egg hunters, yeah.
And so all the Gunters became aficionados on like way back references. And so that's why everything was like referencing the 70s, 80s, and 90s and not, the 2025 or whatever. But in the movie, they brought more of it forward. So like you'd see Overwatch, you saw like all that stuff. And they tried to bring more of that in. There was some manga stuff in there. Like there was more modern, but in the book it was all of the riddles. You had to be OG. Like as a guy who grew up with that, I was working along with the riddles. Like, holy shit, it's that thing. Oh my God, it's got to be like whatever.
So the riddles I understand.
I could follow through and kind of try to figure it out because I knew everything that they knew. Like I lived it, right? And so that's where that's what they missed in the movie. They didn't do a good job of explaining like that aspect of it.
I understand the Gunters being that. I 100% get that. I understand the riddles being the from that.
But the riddles in the book had better application.
Right, but what I'm saying, but it's not the riddles that bother because I understand. Okay, these are the riddles that he created for when he was growing up. Okay, that's fine. But this is a very vast universe, right? That they're all playing in now, right?
Well, I mean, they're saying Earth.
Everything.
Yeah, but you go to all different planets and stuff.
Everything. Everything that they showed us, everything was from the 80s. It wasn't just the Gunters. It was everything. Like
the average person.
Who's the RoboCop person?
Yeah,
why the fuck would they know RoboCop?
Is walking around in avatars of like old 80s.
Of old 80s stuff.
So what you're saying is somebody like the main character who did not grow up in that era, right?
Right, but he was a Gunter, so I get
why. No, but let's just say other people like him that were growing up in the same era. Why would they give a shit about these old sort of nostalgia? They wouldn't,
because they had to learn about it. And then
no, but what if you weren't? What if you're just a player? You're just a player. You don't really care because not everybody was a Gunter. Not everybody was doing it. But there's millions of people just hanging out in the OASIS.
Yeah,
kicking around, doing tasks, doing things, collecting, playing games, collecting.
Well,
gear.
H's avatar in the movie was just a rando robot dude cyborg. Like he wasn't. I didn't.
Right. No. Yeah. But you see all these other players.
Maybe not just the main players.
They weren't all. I think you guys might be thinking all of them were avatars from the 80s, but I think there were just some in there that you were like, oh, look at that. And then there were like a whole bunch of regulars, right?
Yeah.
And those regulars were just the people who weren't into it.
It is interesting just how like there was either 80s or there was nondescript. But there was still no
It was like 90% 80s.
There was nothing else not even from early 2000s.
Yeah.
You know?
No, I get what you're saying, and why would most
it's just
of
a little,
the younger people
thing.
care?
And how did the game itself, how did the OASIS itself never evolve? Like when he goes into the store, everything that it's like a Rubik's Cube or it's this, it's like everything again from like the 80s.
Not even a Bop It? Where are the Bop Its? Come on.
That was one of the things that I didn't like. I was like, this game, this idea, this AI, it never evolved. It felt like it was just stuck.
Well, he wrote the game. Right, so he put those things in there.
Right, but they show that it never evolved from it. It was all about the whole thing was just about that, and it felt like an '80s movie. The whole thing felt like an '80s movie.
Yeah, well, certainly '80s, '70s, '80s callbacks for sure. Yeah.
The movie itself,
was it meant to evolve that way? Like when did they keep adding? They obviously kept adding stuff to the original code. They keep the company.
They explain it in the book better. In the book, there's like an '80s planet where you could go and do all video games from the 80s. There was like a 90s planet. Like there are thousands of different planets.
Right.
And you could write your own planet and you could make your own world. And and in the book they explain it. Like you can make a world that's just, do you guys remember, you guys might not remember this, but there was a game called, was it Tank Commander? Mm-hmm. When you literally walk up to the game, you look through this viewfinder and the whole field was like black with green lines and tanks and you fire at them. There was a whole world in the book of just that. And so like you zap to that planet and then like your whole view is just that game.
But you're explaining away the issues I have with the movie. In the book it's written differently. I'm not talking about the book.
No, but
I get that. I don't give a fuck about the book. I'm watching the movie.
You gotta care about the book.
No, but I'm saying the book did explain it. In the movie they dropped the ball and they didn't explain it. That's what I'm saying.
So maybe I'll read the book. But the task at hand then is about the movie, and this is the feeling that I have, and it's like, oh well, in the book it's this. And
oh no, the next podcast is about the book. Sorry,
I probably won't. I don't know.
Larry's absent that day, ladies and gentlemen.
I will not be. No,
but sorry.
No, go ahead.
I like the fact that like. You know what? I'm frustrated the fact that the book was able to explain these things, and I'm frustrated that the movie like skimmed past these like not
you gotta pick and
wildly glaring things, but like just a little bit of a dude, do you know what year it is right now?
Well, if the original creator creates it based on his nostalgia, that's what you get.
Yeah.
Once he stops doing it or he dies, people come in and add more to it. They're going to add their own flair, their own nostalgia to it. So you do start to see some of the other stuff. But all the 80s stuff that Halliday did, that's what he put into the OASIS. And he didn't move further than that because A, he died, and B, he didn't want to. Like, that's what he did. I mean, he had old stuff in there, like The Shining and all kinds of stuff. But, if you created it, let's say today, Bruno, you'd put that stuff in there. I would put that stuff there. I wouldn't put stuff from, like, Donna Reed, Gilligan's Island, like I wouldn't put that shit in there because it's not my nostalgia. It's prior to my time. Yeah. So it's the same thing, but I would put my nostalgia in there. Yeah. And then somebody after me would start coming in and putting their own nostalgia in. And some of that did make it in there. Some of that newer stuff, like Halo and other stuff, did make it in there. And we didn't get to see, much like Multiverse of Madness, we didn't get to see all the different worlds that we saw that you read about in the book. Right, because they just stay focused to the story, so they can't explain all these other planets and go into it. I mean, it's God's sakes, it's not Tolkien, right? It's not Lord of the Rings where you spend 13 chapters on a leaf in a tree.
Yeah, I think the limit is that you're changing mediums and you don't have that much time.
Yeah.
Right? You got 90 minutes, 120. It's just like it's hard to include all of it. And then if you're gonna, then it becomes exposition, and you hear a voiceover for an hour and a half, and you're like, all right.
And then there's this world.
I'm not watching the movie.
Commander world.
Yeah. I would have read the book if I wanted.
Yes, there are other worlds.
That's
Anywho,
that's what you get. There's other worlds.
I do think that's a limitation of the movie.
And that's all I'm saying is that it's just a frustrating limitation.
They gave you some nostalgia, what they thought you needed, and then moved on to the actual story.
Yeah.
And
it's natural that you guys would be like, what about this thing? What happened? This doesn't explain it. And I think that's a hard thing to do, right? Like when you're taking a full book and converting it into a short movie, you've got to make cuts. And how do you do that? And how do you make the cuts that don't make the movie seem stilted and missing
just going
pieces.
Through world after world after world after world.
Right. Yeah, you can spend a whole chapter on the different worlds in the book, but here you're like, I'm just going to mention it in a sentence and a half, and then we'll move on.
We'll do a quick montage. Yeah. Maybe like, Doctor Strange flying through different multiverses. Oh, look, he's paint now. Fucking move on. We're not going to spend time in the paint world. We'll just rush through it, and that's all they did.
For me, it just like the whole movie just felt like I felt like I was watching it in the 80s. Like I felt like the whole, like
which
the whole,
I loved. I did too, but I loved that part.
It wasn't just like, I'm not talking about like just like the nostalgia. It's like the premise, like it just the viewership. Like when they meet up and it's like, hey, I'm really me, and I'm really, and it's like when they finally meet each other, like in the real world, like that felt very 80s, like a Gleam in the Cube, or like it just. Yeah. The whole movie from beginning to end.
The disco scene was gonna be
I mean the whole movie to me just felt like it was in 80s. Like I was watching it literally in the in the 80s.
That might be why I loved it so much.
Yeah, I mean the book was that exactly thing. The book was that.
Yeah, and that's probably why I loved it so much.
Might be why
80s is still my favorite era. So
yeah.
Luckily, I still had fun with it. I still thought it was a really fun movie.
That is lucky for us.
Even though I got I didn't get any nostalgia feeling watching this.
Well, because none of those were
because obviously none of it really was
your genre.
Salty today.
Sure.
But
super salty.
But I did. But I thought it was a fun movie. I still thought it was fun. I just didn't get the nostalgia that you guys are getting.
No, nor would you. Yeah.
Absolutely. It's funny too. It's just like when I'm watching this, when they first show them in the stacks, right? It's like that takes you back to like watching some sort of 80s movie that we watch. That when in the 80s when they did like future movies, this is the image that they use. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like when we watch this as little kids, we're like, oh, whatever. It was this. It was like it almost looked like. I hate to bring this back, but this is almost like what Mario Brothers should have been.
Oh fuck! Oh, sorry. No,
I know. What? So it's like like when you went to Mario Brothers, like the slums.
Yeah.
Like I had that kind of same feeling.
should have been
It was
more like that, yeah.
Like it just, and then I'm watching him go down from where he lived.
Yeah.
How the fuck does he get back up?
I was asking that too. It must be like
He slides he slides rope, and then I saw some
wasn't
people
there a
with
counterweight rope that got them back up again?
that got him up to the next level.
Yeah.
Okay, he was on the top fucking level, dude. He came down like 6 levels.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. He's walking through people's homes and through the. I'm like, there's got to be an easier way to get downstairs.
They're all kind of living literally on top of each other.
Right, but to walk through the person's like
kinda
van to like get to the others, I'm like, what?
I mean, my issue was like when they blew up the stacks, like they didn't need to set explosives. You just have a guy sort of lean on it a little bit, and the whole thing's coming down.
Shoulder
fucking dominoes, man.
You're like, oh, wow.
Oh, it took one.
You probably should have built a little more sturdy.
Yeah, and like when he had to go from his house to where his van was, that he had his like whole setup, his rig.
Yeah.
He's like climbing through like the cars. So I'm like,
Yeah.
all right, what the fuck, dude?
No,
like, what
so
is
in
happening?
the book they explained they represented that correctly, just like
Okay.
the book. But in the book they explained that he was like he wanted to get away. He was trying to like hide from everybody, and so he had found like an old van that was basically just a bunch of cars, just like gonna throw him away essentially.
Okay.
So he turned that van into like his little hideout.
Okay.
So he had to crawl into it.
I mean, I got that feeling from it. Like,
Yeah.
I absolutely did. Like,
Yeah,
I understand what he was doing. Like, he was
Yeah.
like, I want to be the fuck away from everybody.
Right.
Because I can understand that. You know, because watch through the movie, it's like everybody's got these goggles on. And I'm like, oh my God, they're all fucking addicts.
Yeah, yeah.
And then everybody was
Yeah.
addicted. It
Yeah.
wasn't just like, oh, I'm going to do this for fun.
It's the epitome of screen time overload, right?
Yeah, and I'm going,
makes you think of
holy
something.
fuck. Like, touch grass, motherfuckers. Like, take the goggles off for a little bit. Like, you know you live with like 5 other people. Talk to them. Say, hey, how are you today?
Yeah.
I gotta say that I don't know. You talking about how everyone was just outside with the VR goggles. There was a scene during the battle where I was like, "There's no way." So it was actually funny enough. It was the Halo guys, and they were running like in the game, and then you see what they look like actually, and they're actually running like on the sidewalk in a group, and I'm like,
Yeah.
There's no poles you're gonna run into. You're not scared of walls.
Yeah, they're just gonna run. and hit
Other
shit.
people, what are you doing out here doing that?
Yeah. And that was
I was like, they're not making it that
I've known
long.
people who were injured their shoulders running into a pole, just walking down the street
Yeah.
with nothing on their face.
And these people have stuff on their face and they're running down the
they're
street.
everywhere. Oh my God, they were everywhere on the street. I'm like, you are going to run into someone. Go home. go to your
Go
bathroom
home,
or
you're
something
drunk.
and do this.
Yeah,
what are you
right?
talking about?
But I think the message is like, get off the fucking phones and get
Touch
outside,
grass.
touch some grass.
Yeah, I
a
literally have
breath.
that written in my notes.
touch a person,
grass.
touch a
Yeah.
I get you.
Yeah, and she mentions it too. She's like, you know, when he first, because she's like, you're just unused to breathing real air and like seeing the sky.
Yeah.
When they first kind of got together.
Yeah.
And that's legit. Like it's a constant struggle right now with my kids and I. So for me to get them off screens, off phones, off all that stuff, right? And like they don't have much screen time right now. Like maybe like an hour or two on the weekends because it's just they get into it and they don't. And then literally the other day, about a week ago, I came home and like I was taking my coat off and I come walk into the kitchen and my wife, my mom, who's living with us, and my 2 kids. My kids are on the screens. My wife's on her phone. My mom's on her phone. And I'm like, how the fuck is everybody? Hey,
How
hello.
would they know? How would they know? They haven't talked to each other in hours.
Yeah, hey, do you know that the other person's here right now?
I was
Like-
just gonna say, oh my God, you're here? Yeah, I've been here for about an hour.
Yeah. And like I saw red and I was like, this is bullshit, you know? So that's when I was like, all right, kids, like put that shit down. Let's go for a walk. And it's so easy. Look, as a parent, and I'm guilty of it, like you get to the point where like, look, I need 5 minutes of just no goddamn screaming. Kids, get on your iPads. Just, I need a break. And
veg out. Get you on your
everybody's
veggie
been
pad.
there. Everybody's been there. But like, it's a constant struggle, and I feel like we have to push hard against screen time and phone addiction. Like, I'm a grown adult, and I still find myself reaching for my phone, and like I have to actively be like, nope. You know what? I'm not going to do that right now. Like, so now I've gotten like, so I'll go home, I'll put my phone on my desk, like in my office, and then I'll come into the house and be like, all right, I'm off I'm not on my phone right now. And I've got notifications on my watch in the event that like somebody at work needs me.
Right.
But so I can get like a message that way. Otherwise, I'm not on my phone. I'm not trying to check any of that shit. For the past like 3 weeks, I've been doing that, and it's amazing.
So it's funny that you say that. Is how many times have you been on your phone watching something, think of something else, and go, oh shit, I should check that on my phone.
Yeah.
And not realize that you're like on your phone. Because I've done that myself. Like I'm on my phone, I'm like, oh okay, watch like a video, so I'm like, oh I should check that out, and I'm going, I'll check that on my phone. Oh wait, no, I'm looking at my phone. I'm looking at my phone.
I walked around the house a few weeks ago with my phone in my hand, looking for my phone. I had my phone in my hand, and I was like,
"That's just old age, Bruno. I'm sorry, bro. That's just old age, man."
Yeah. I was like, "Where's my phone?"
I gotta say,
I looked around for like 30 seconds till I was like, "Ah, you fucking asshole."
I
That
gotta
comedian is just like, and my wife is. She knows she's amazing. She can do anything. She's incredible. This is the same woman every morning. Walks around the house going, "Honey, where's my phone? Can you call my phone? Where's my phone?
Yeah.
Call my phone. Oh, there it is. It was in my purse. It was on silent. I got it. That's I'm fine. Okay, where's my keys?
I mean, that's true. And this whole message, it was good to see this movie again. I saw it a while ago. It was a good reminder, we got to get off our phones. Go outside and take a walk. Come home, put your phone away, put it on the charger, and just walk in your house and live with your
You go in a different room
family.
than it is in.
Yeah, be with your family.
Because if it's in the same room with you, you're gonna pick it up again.
Get comfortable with awkward silences and understand that you can just have a conversation with the person across from you.
Yeah.
And just enjoy that, because it's going away, and it's a real problem.
Yeah, I found myself doom scrolling.
Yeah.
So I'd find myself on it's one of those new phrases.
Oh, good. I'm glad you saw the look on my face. Like, what the fuck is doom scrolling?
It's been 4 or 5 years.
It's when you're on YouTube or Instagram or something, and you've got those shorts going or TikTok, and you just scroll and you're paralyzed. Just
you're in a rabbit hole.
Staring.
Oh, okay.
And you just scroll.
I'm gonna put this down, but I guess the next one.
And you keep going after the next one, after the next one, after 3, after 5 or something.
And then it's been an hour.
And then you go, oh,
dude.
Yeah.
That started with Facebook, where you can just keep scrolling eternally.
Yeah,
on
Facebook is the same. Yeah.
And you're just like, here, what's next? And your mind just gets addicted to that stim.
Yeah. So then I actually put a timer on my phone that I'm like, I can only be on this app for this amount of time each day.
Yeah.
And then it's done. I'm done. And then I'm like, and that worked. That really worked.
Yeah.
Because I'd be like, oh, this is also something I use for communication. So maybe I should not use
the bathroom addiction, right? When you're in there and you're scrolling.
Yeah. Can you go to the bathroom without bringing your phone in there?
No.
Yes.
How nervous do you get?
Not.
I left the house the other day, and I intentionally left my phone at home. I was like, I'm going to leave the house without my phone. And it was...
That was the panic attack.
It was like, oh my God, this is crazy. And in my car, I was like, what if I need to call my wife for something? And I was like... Are you kidding me right now? I'm going to fucking CVS. I'm going to be fine.
What did we do beforehand? Right. No, I get you.
What the fuck did we do?
Also, that's the thing. It's like you're going to CVS for something, and you're like, I need my phone. What the fuck do you need your phone for,
No, I do not. Yeah, I know.
I do it because I pay with my phone. So
I bring mine because I'm going to Google something. Something's going to come up where I go, I've got no idea.
And then you know what? You just remember. Use your fucking brain. Remember, and then when you get home, you Google it. Right? That's what it's incredible. I'm not saying I'm not guilty of this. I'm guilty of it.
Yeah, these are just absolutely 100%.
These are just observations.
Observations and examples that everybody does.
Right.
I mean, everybody's connected. So
it's unbelievable.
With what you say, it's like the wife and I. She works from home now. So when I come home, I mean, she still works, so we don't really have that much communication. It's like, oh, hey, hi, hon, how was your day?
If you're working,
okay, cool. Finish up your job. And then when she's done, then we actually sit down and it's like, we talk about our day. Because she's very, very good about that.
That's amazing.
Because I'll get on my phone and she'll just like, hey, here, me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, 100% right.
And everybody
I'm so
hates
sorry.
to be reminded of it. But
it's something though. I mean,
take it with good intent.
Yeah, right? Absolutely. I don't get mad at it, but it's like, we'll be talking and I don't do it as much, I feel, as I used to. Because it's like, throughout the work days, I'm looking on my phone because it's like looking at blueprints, looking at notes. Okay, I'll text another guys on the job site.
It can be super useful. Right?
Super useful. But then when I get home, like you do, I have to remember to say, hey, you know what? I need to put it away. I have my bathroom time when I get home. That's where I do take it in there with me and I go down a rabbit hole. What is it? Doom scroll?
Doom scroll.
Do you have a timer for the bathroom?
No.
I do.
No, because sometimes
my wife got me one. So they call the poop timer. It's like a little thing
Wow,
you can flip over.
You're taking it to the next level.
And you flip it over and there's sand.
I don't
It's like
take
a
my
guy
phone
on a
into the
potty.
bathroom.
Yeah.
Personally,
Listen,
I
And the
don't.
sand goes out of him into the toilet.
Listen, I
Once
can't-
the toilet's filled, it's time to get up. I'm like, honey, I already had one. When my legs go numb, I'm out.
So I can't do that because sometimes with me, like I work on a job site. There's there's porta potties. Sometimes
You don't want to spend time in there.
I don't want to spend a lot of time in those porta potties. So sometimes some
1-minute timer.
things don't get done. So I have to wait till I get home, and that's when things get done. I might have to be in there in a little while for a little while. Hit the bidet a couple times, let it flush out
Yeah.
Yeah.
the process.
It's
I know,
sad when my
Mila.
kid has to tell me
No,
I'm
I was like,
you're
you got
done,
a
Dad, go.
bidet?
But he doesn't get too
That's
close.
what I
He
stopped
doesn't get
at.
too close.
Okay.
So tell me from down the hall, Dad, you're done.
I just get to the bathroom, do my thing, and go. Like I think you bring your phone in there, you end up you're just going down that rabbit hole, and I don't.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure,
And I've
for
get
sure.
At least
Oh,
4 or
yeah.
5 reels sent to her.
I've definitely gotten the text of the hey, are you okay?
Yeah. Did you fall in? Did you fall in?
Yeah, I'm like,
to the
shit,
rabbit
yeah,
hole?
I'm good.
Yes, that is the internet.
I
You
got
did.
a text back.
Get
I'm like,
on the
yeah,
OASIS.
I gotta finish this up. Let me finish up, wash my hands. I'm out.
It's funny. I think the fastest way I get into the rabbit hole is when someone sends me something. That's the worst thing that can happen. I go,
Yeah.
oh, what's this? I guess I'll have to send them one back.
Yeah.
And then I'll just go, I gotta find a good one. And then it's an hour.
Or
And then I go,
You're
what was I
accepted.
doing? Oh, I never messaged them back.
or you click on it right on the link on the video, whatever, and you're like, oh, that's pretty cool. And then you know that the next one that's gonna come up is gonna be one that's similar to it because of the algorithm. So then you like the next one, then you're like, oh, what's the next one gonna be?
Yeah.
I realize this
Yeah.
conversation's taking a downward turn, but has anybody ever sat there so long you forget if you went? You went 2. You're like, oh shit, did I go?
No.
Look, I
No.
have. Like, yeah,
You gotta double check. You're
I
like,
gotta wipe.
oh wait,
I forgot.
You know
Actually-
you've got issues when that starts happening.
Actually,
That's
Yeah.
a warning.
Too
I did
long.
go number 2. I should wipe.
That's a red flag.
Set the fuck back
That's
down.
a red
That's happened like
Clean
a
it
couple
up and
times
let's
to me, I
go.
gotta say.
Okay.
Like I'll be
couple
like,
times.
I'll be like so away from what I'm doing, and I'll go, wait a minute.
wait, do it.
Did I shit? I don't remember. Oh, yeah, I did. All right, gotta clean that up. Gotta clean that up.
All right, for those
That's just
listeners
because I
out
was
there,
zoned
For
out
that 3
hard.
listeners,
this
2 or 3
happens-
listeners that are still
if
left
this happens to you, know that you probably should leave your phone
outside the bathroom.
outside and then do your thing if you're forgetting.
Yeah, if you're forgetting if you actually went to the bathroom.
I would
Yeah.
challenge you to just leave your phone out there anyway.
Just leave the phone out there anyway. I mean, so to bring it back, we're all so people just in general are so connected to their phones
Yeah.
and their game. Whether it be a game, a video, social media, like we're all so connected, and that's literally what this was. When we see the people, like everybody has, the Oculus basically, right? Everybody's on it, and everybody's like, I think I saw
You seen
dogs
the new
and
Apple
shit.
one?
Oh, see, well, Apple's evil anyway.
No.
What?
Apple's
Apple
evil
is like
empire.
the incarnation of IOI.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Really,
literally.
like facts.
Their new computer, their goggle computer is
great.
amazing.
Yeah, I'm sure it's like 3-year-old technology
At
charging
least.
twice the price.
At least.
Probably.
Oh,
Yeah, at
it's
least.
expensive.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. As
It's
I hold up my
literally,
iPhone.
it's
And they're like,
literally
it's brand new. We can't do cut and paste yet, but it's brand new.
but it's literally like, you gotta check it out. It's literally a computer in your goggles, like your whole Mac, everything. It's just there, and everything shines in front of you, including the icon. Everything's there.
I want to do that
You
so
can just
bad. Like I've
fucking,
seen it in
like,
so many movies. The whole swipe in the middle.
That's gotta be cool.
The new Apple glasses, that's what they do, but they're like, I don't know, $5,000. It's ridiculous
That's-
price, but it's
Can I put it on my AT&T bill and just pay
I don't
monthly?
think I'm expensive.
Because
I'm gonna expense
I
it.
want that so bad. Like I saw that like in Minority Report, Tom Cruise and
Yeah.
Colin Farrell way back when.
You watch movies,
And
it's fucking ridiculous.
It's fucking
Crazy.
awesome. Like we've been watching like that quote
You look
unquote
like a schmo
technology
wearing
for
them, but it's fun.
years, and it's like, when will they ever come out with that? Because it's been in movies that you can do
Yeah.
that shit. I want to do it in real life.
The new Apple glasses. That's basically what it is.
Jim
Nobody
Jones-
else can see it. Like you're seeing it, but it's not like it's shiny.
That's
everywhere.
okay.
Right. You're seeing all this shit happen. You can watch movies. It's got like near field, and you can bet, and it literally will darken around it, so the whole room around you goes dark. You know what I mean? Like you can't see it.
so awesome.
It's fucking cool. It's really cool. Like you said, it's probably a lot of it's old or older because that's kind of the way they roll it. But yeah, it's pretty sweet.
Fucking alien technology.
Well,
stupid,
what you're probably going to get is much more along the lines of augmented reality stuff. So, like you get a few years ago when the Pokemon Go stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So you'd look through your phone in Pokemon Go, but like here you'd have like, let's say, Google goggles, which never worked out well. But you might have goggles or just glasses that look like regular glasses, but it's got the AR functionality. And so you would look around. a QR code would trigger it and something would show up in the real world, but you would only be the one seeing that.
Like Free Guy.
Like Free Guy, just like that. So you put the goggles on and all of a sudden you could see more things triggered by the environment. So that's stuff that's coming. My brother's worked on projects like that too.
Wow.
It's pretty cool
Don't
stuff.
say things like that.
I mean, this stuff
You don't wanna
it's
get in
all out
trouble.
there. It's all out there.
He wouldn't
I'm
say
not
it if it
giving
wasn't-
anything away.
It wouldn't be, if it was Secret Scroll stuff, he wouldn't be saying it.
But like, it's coming. It's coming. And that kind of stuff is, again, it's super useful, but like our connectivity to it is something you got to be really mindful of, right? Like, and I worry because like my kids we're grown adults and we have trouble with this addiction.
Right.
How are kids going to manage that? It's a
Well,
problem.
proper leadership and guidance.
Proper leadership and guidance.
From us?
From us who we have no idea.
We always want the better for our children, right? So we're like, you know what? I know that what staring at a phone did for 3 hours, so why don't you not? Let's take that away.
But here's the problem. They see what you do and they don't listen to what you say.
Right.
So,
do as I say, not as I do.
Yeah. So I see my sons mimicking motions I make with my hands when I'm talking, and they start to do that shit, right?
You're Italian.
I mean, they're in
That's
trouble.
just part of it,
They're
buddy.
already in
The
trouble.
hands are all over the place.
This is punctuation.
I'm the same way. I'm Portuguese. Like, I
That
talk
turns
with
out
my
to be a
hands.
learning curve for us because you're like throwing shit. Like, no, I meant that. I have to get that back.
No, yeah.
Fucking hand gestures.
But they watch you, they see you, so I actively try not to be picking up my phone in front of them because they're going to catch on to that.
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah.
No. That's how I feel sometimes with the guys that I work with. Like, we have some young kids. We have some co-op guys. Some guys that are in the field, like, you know, this is like their third, fourth year in the real field. It's like, you know, you try to get them to be a little bit better, and I don't know if it's a generational thing or whatever, but you're trying to get. Some of them are a little bit entitled just because, and I'm like, no, that's not how fucking real world works, bro.
Yeah.
Like, maybe that's how
That's what
your
you were
real world.
told. That's what you were
how you're
told.
told, or that's how your world works because you're still in high school, whatever.
Yeah.
But we have to
That's not
change,
it.
you know.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm pretty cognizant of how I act in front of certain guys because I don't want them to think one way or another. It's I try to show them a good way to do it, so they can kind of pick up on that, and then they can go off in there. But if they watch, like not that I'm doing it in a bad way, just not really a shortcut either or a hack, but
No, but
in a different
you'll
way. It's
take
like,
a shortcut because you know how to manage the risk in that shortcut.
Right,
And you know
right.
they've already handled something else.
Yeah.
So, but they don't know any of that, and they just think this shortcut is okay.
That's without doing the beginning or the end, and it's like they're like, oh, well, I saw you do it. It's like, but you know,
I did all these other things.
I did like 6 other things prior to this.
Yeah.
You know, so why not this way? Because I know. Oh,
And
wait a
that's
minute.
why.
This is still code. It's still code, and it's still right, and it's still good, and I could do it this way. It's a lot of thought. I don't want you to do just the middle part because you forgot fucking
All this
steps
other
1 through
shit.
6.
Yeah.
So bringing it back to the movie.
Back to the movie. Sorry.
Oh yeah, did we watch a movie about this?
Yes,
think we
Ready
did.
Player One. So
Oh,
what was your
okay.
favorite part of the movie?
The Shining.
Oh, I was gonna say
Fucking
that
love
one.
that, man.
That was
I've
cool.
got that. So here's the thing. I love the race. Like the Clue part of it was pretty fucking cool. I liked more the OASIS world than I liked the real world. I don't know if they did that on purpose.
I mean,
It makes perfect
in what way
sense.
did you like it?
It's
The
just-
real world was super depressing and dark,
Right, yeah. So-
I think that's what they were going
Yeah,
for.
so it's like the OASIS world, like the storyline that was inside the OASIS was pretty cool. Like obviously he gets the girl, right? Again, this screams the 80s, like the whole movie, but
Yeah.
like the race is pretty cool.
Yeah.
The way that he figures out, wait a minute, I go backwards. And it's like you see that, I was like, all right, that's pretty badass. The Shining was fucking awesome. And to the point, like, what I liked is like, hey, have you never seen The Shining? He's like, no, you know, and H was like, I've never seen this movie. And I'm like, ooh, you were about to get into some
And
shit.
the 2 girls show up
And the
right
2
there.
girls, I was like,
tennis ball.
oh yeah.
I was like, no, don't follow that
Don't
ball.
follow that. Yeah, exactly. It's like,
Not the elevator, not the elevator.
we've seen the movie, so like I found myself doing that, like don't
Yeah.
shit, and then they come around like no, and I was like, because they've
That's
seen
your
the
ass
movie.
right there.
Right?
Wade was like, no, and then the blood comes
And
out.
then, and then they're like, we
That
have to go
was
back on
awesome.
237. He was like, and H was like, you don't want to go in there. There's some dead naked lady trying to stab you. And I was like, that's fucking awesome. Like
Yeah.
that whole that was probably like my favorite.
But tell me why you like The Shining, because you know
know.
the movie.
Exactly.
Right? And it's a good
It's a It did exactly what it was supposed to do for me.
Yes.
I gotta say, that's why I liked it, I think. Because I watched it as well.
Now imagine, so you have more, you understand more, right? You're a little older, but for Mila, where she's got no other, just didn't live through the 80s and 90s, like that callback for you and how you felt like that was so cool, how they brought the real movie into this movie.
Yeah.
For me and Marco, it was like, the whole movie was like that. Every single aspect of it was like, oh my God, they brought, this thing into it and just like that whole thing. And that's why I think we really liked it, where you were kind of like, it was kind of a hit or miss because I didn't get all the references.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
I mean, I got all the references.
Yeah.
I don't want to say it's a problem, just I wanted... It kind of took me out of it a little bit because all the references... all the throwbacks, and maybe they were just very because again, like you said, in the book, they say there's these different eras, so I feel that just in this one, it was so 80s forward, and in my head, and I'm like, you're forcing the 80s, which I'm fine with, because again, that's our shit, but then I go, this kid is literally 20 years old, he doesn't know...
but that particular kid
read up
knew
on
all about.
So I know that he did, but
he read up on
but I felt like right. But I felt like the '80s stuff was so forward that it made me feel like everybody was just stuck in the '80s when they went to the OASIS, and I'm like, this doesn't fucking make sense. There's like young kids who don't know shit about the 2000s because this is 2040, whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
So you have like these young kids that like their nostalgia would like their throwbacks would be different than the Rubik's Cube or Cubert or King Kong or Donkey Kong, whatever. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Iron Giant.
The Iron Giant, or
how many things
and
like
the
from the 80s? Like the 80s was fucking 40 years ago, right?
For us, yeah.
Yeah, but there's still most of the 80s pop culture is still prominent in our culture now because there were interesting things. The comics, the whole Marvel universe started in the 1950s. So like, or maybe,
Turtles.
Yeah, all of that shit just gets brought forward because somebody, primarily the two guys that wrote the whole Marvel stuff are my age. Like, so they were like, we're going to bring this forward because this is something our generation would appreciate, and he nailed it, right? So now that our generation brought that to the forefront, the younger generation see it, they dig it, and they buy into it. And I feel like that totally happened. So when people in 2046 were like still big into like the 80s and 90s shit, it wasn't a big leap for me to say, they probably just brought that culture forward, essentially.
That's fucking like 70, 80 years though, dude.
Although I gotta say, these days...
Do you think in 10 years people will still be talking about Superman and Spider-Man? They will. In 20 years,
because it's ongoing. Superheroes, you're next. Superhero stuff and comics, that's still ongoing. So
only because it was brought up. But Superman was not a big deal. Not Superman. Spider-Man, Iron Man didn't have any major...
Old shellhead.
He was like 40 years old when they started doing it in 2010. Nobody knew who Iron Man was.
Nobody gave a fuck.
Nobody cared at all. And then they brought it forward, made it cool, right? And so it's easy to do, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. I think a lot of that stuff would be easy to bring forward. And you do. It just keeps revolving back around again. How many iterations of Ninja Turtles have we had since the 80s? It will not stop. Because it's a popular property and they just keep bringing it back.
It's a money grab.
Yeah, it's all a money grab. All of that stuff. Batman's a money grab. Superman's it's all it is.
Right, but all those things but you're talking about the things in the 80s that's very nostalgic for people that us. We're only in our 40s and 50s, right? So that's still kind of relevant nostalgic to us. I don't expect fucking kids that are born this year to go back to RoboCop.
I've got to say...
When they're fucking 20.
My kid's 3.5. I got about a year. He's getting RoboCop. Just kidding.
I got to say that there are things that always push forwards. The thing is, there are things that push forwards, and there are things that are obviously shoehorned in because it's the 80s, and he was born in the 80s. Things like Spider-Man and Superman, Batman, I can't ever see those really fading for the next 10, 15, 20 years.
Yeah, easily.
But things like some of the other stuff, that's not gonna... That
like a Madball.
Realistically, people I know now, I know the culture of my age.
I love Madballs.
A lot of that stuff is completely irrelevant.
Right.
Like, it's completely irrelevant.
Yeah, but you know what's going to happen?
You have to, have been like some niche person that like watches
But I wonder
a
if
certain
they
movie
stuck
to
it
do this.
into an Oasis type situation,
What-
if people wouldn't find out about it again.
No, here's
and
what
be like,
happens.
oh, that's fucking cool.
They might
and then
publish-
they look it up and find out what the hell was it about.
Here's how things get propagated forward. You experience something in your childhood. Maybe it resonates with you. You enjoy it, whatever it is. You become an adult. Most of the people that went through those things and then get into a position where they can influence a lot of people. In this particular scenario, we're talking about like filmmakers, directors, screenwriters. They started writing screenplays about these things that got them really excited as a kid. And all of a sudden these things come to the forefront. And if they resonate with the younger generation, now you've got younger generation people who are like, all right, Iron Man was amazing. In 30 years, when the kids who saw Iron Man growing up now bring it back, I'm not going to be surprised, because they're going to be like, yeah, this was awesome. Now we're going to modernize it and bring it forward again. Or maybe they're going to take fucking Beanie Babies and turn it into a movie. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying it's a good idea.
Yeah.
We never stopped to think about whether we should, just whether we could.
Right. I think you've said that before.
I might have. So, like, I think that happens a lot. And so people that become in a position of influence just bring things that influence them, and it just comes back around.
I think maybe it would have been easier if they did have different worlds. I think it would have been easier if they took one sentence and just said, yeah, so this is the 80s world. Oh, that's why everything's fucking 80s.
Yeah.
Again, it's. I understand, certain things do carry on. I'm not. I feel like we're just beating a dead horse with this, but it just. I feel that this movie was literally everything about it was 80s. Everything was nostalgia. In my mind, I'm like, that's cool for me, because for me, 80s wasn't 60, 70 years ago. It was 30 years ago. For these kids, this kid's 20 years old in 2047. He's born fucking 2022 or something like that. By the time he comes to knowledge, now granted with him it's a little bit different because he's one of the...
Any of the Gunters.
He's one of the Gunters. Like any of the Gunters, they're going to be all over this shit, so I get them. But when I'm watching this movie, I'm like, is everybody in this Oasis, is everybody a fucking Gunter? Because he said that there weren't too many Gunters around anymore.
No, he said that there were millions of them, and then as nobody found shit, they all faded away. They stopped being Gunters.
So, but we still see all the 80s references, so it would have been... For me, it would have been easier if they were just like, yeah, so this is like the 80s world that everybody just kind of loves living in. Then it's like, okay, now I know why we have the Back to the Future car, or why we have RoboCop, or why we have fucking Madballs. The 18, so it's like, okay, now I understand why all these 80s things are there.
You saw the Back to the Future car because that was his car. You saw the Rubik's Cube because that was designed by Halliday, who was an 80s kid.
Yeah.
So like, imagine, Halliday made the Rubik's Cube. All the magic items in that world were created by a guy from that generation, right?
Holy
so naturally,
hand
they're going to be in those forms. And then the Gunters are like any person today that like falls in love with like something that's old school, and then they're like, I'm in the know, I'm special, I know all this old school shit, and I've got street cred, and now I'm gonna have a fucking DeLorean, I'm gonna have
I felt like out of the 1,000 people that play this, 950 of them were all 80s.
Yeah.
So that's literally what my point. There was too. Again, it just felt like that out of the 1,000 people that played Oasis, 950 of them were 80s, and I was like, so everybody's stuck in the 80s, even though it's 2042.
All right. Yeah.
That's. I feel like there was just way too much. I like it because that's my nostalgia. I don't see how that many fucking people are gonna go. I mean, how often do you listen to 70s or 60s or 50s music? You fucking don't, right?
It's not my thing, though.
Exactly. So imagine a movie that's in the full front, and it just seems like everybody's listening to Frank Sinatra.
Yeah, but if...
Now, that's my shit. I like that.
Let's take your analogy one step further. If Frank Sinatra passed away and said, listen, guys, learn about my life deep, and you'll win $1 billion. Everybody would know every word to every Sinatra song, right?
Absolutely.
Everything he did in his life, and Sinatra.
And then when it
gets
gets to the end, and people haven't won shit, and he was like, yeah, it's just a few of us now.
Yeah,
so it gets that 1,000 now turns to fucking 10 people that are Gunters.
For a while, everybody was
everybody
Sinatra.
still knows what they know.
Okay,
they didn't unlearn. They didn't unlike the stuff.
People probably.
But nobody's gonna fucking stay there. Like, why would they go to other planets, to other worlds, to do other quests, other shit?
There were.
I don't know that. I didn't read the fucking book.
That's your problem. That's your problem.
You can't explain the things away, but I have an issue with the movie by saying, "Oh, you should read the book." Exactly. You can, and all these things, and it happens in movies in general. It's like, oh, well,
it's a
you gotta
weird
read
hill
the
to
book.
die on.
But fuck you. Why do I need to go read a book about something that you should just tell me in the movie?
There's a truly an Ahsoka moment.
Yes, fucking A right.
I'm like, damn, that's crazy. This doesn't make any sense, but okay.
Maybe I should have read the book.
You should have read the book if you want to watch a movie, nerd.
Right? My bad.
You're a literate bastard.
But overall, no, I mean, I liked the movie though. It was a fun watch.
It's
it really
funny.
was.
It was a fun watch.
Overall, this is kind of just nitpicking.
Yeah, I mean,
like at the end of the day.
Is.
It was still fun.
Like I
still got it
actually,
all.
one of the coolest things I really, really, really did like is when we see her avatar again, and her new avatar has the birthmark.
Yeah, that was cool.
I was like, that's fucking cool,
Yeah.
because he's like, no, like, why are you hiding that?
Yeah.
And then when you see her avatar again, it's got the birth, the avatar's got the birthmark. I was like, that's fucking cool.
That was cool.
really, really like that. Oh, it's that time.
Oh yeah, we do that.
Yeah, we do. We got
All right, Mila.
budget versus gross. Give me a budget. Mila, you're first. Knock it out of the park, chickie. $2. No.
$2 and what?
I need my $2.
$38.02.
Maybe.
No. I'm gonna guess 120 mil.
120 mil. Bruno.
Well, it's a huge animation budget. That shit's expensive.
Right. I mean, I figured
Did
that
you see
you'd
the wall of text for the end, like the credits of people who worked on it, who were like visual artists?
It's like,
It was like,
was in that
and
wall,
then the
it's
visual artist, and I was like, oh my god,
Oh my
it doesn't
God.
stop.
visual. So visually, as you think of visually, what a cool fucking look, man. Like,
Oh my
visually,
God, yeah.
This
Spielberg
movie
said
fucking
this is
smashed it.
Spielberg
Yeah.
said this is like one of the 3 hardest movies he's ever made.
Oh, I'm
Saving
sure.
Private Ryan, Jaws, and this.
Because, I mean,
This was so
visually
cool.
was
Yeah.
fucking awesome,
Everything
man.
rights,
About the
everything.
graphics were incredible.
Yeah.
Their rendering of Parzival and the characters.
Oh my god, it was smooth.
And everything they did was just fantastic.
Yeah.
It was
That
beautiful
was so-
to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what are you thinking?
Like when you throw animation into it to a movie like this, it's so random because you could be like 85 million, you could be 350 million. Like it's all of that's within the range. 120 is a good stake in the ground.
That is good. That's not a bad number.
I would say
That's not a bad number.
I'd probably fall closer to like
this.
150.
Okay.
We'll go 126.
Okay.
What?
150.
150?
150 million.
Right game.
Nah, you're good.
101.
So it was 150 was the budget. So Bruno nails it.
Wow. Nice.
Now,
The gross.
the gross.
What it take in?
This is a huge fucking movie. I'm gonna give you that as a hint. It was a huge fucking movie.
I
it
don't
did
remember
really,
it.
It did well.
Oh, did
Very
it do well?
Yeah, it did well.
Oh, I meant. Let me think.
Oh, shit.
Well, I mean, think about like, you get Spielberg, it was a big popular book.
And it's the
I
nostalgia.
just remember-
Even if we didn't
And the
read the book,
nostalgia.
I just remember when
it's going to be a nostalgia
Yeah,
romp.
I just remember when it came out, everyone wasn't like crazy stoked about it, and then also no one talked about it afterwards. So I know
Mila was under a
it
rock.
wasn't
I don't know
an
what the hell happened to Mila
insane.
at that time.
I was surprised
I don't feel like it was an
to hear Larry say
insane
it did really
success.
well. I thought it did okay. I didn't know that it did.
I thought it did like all right.
Yeah.
But like not
I liked it.
crazy amazing.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I know it
I'm
wasn't.
going to say 300 mil.
Okay.
That's your gross.
Yeah, that's a really good one. I think.
It's got to be higher than that because if a movie did quote
330
unquote really well,
mil.
you're talking about 4x is the minimum for like a movie being successful, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna do 330.
So that would be 4x would be 600. So you're talking. Let's call it 750. 750 mil.
Now 580.
580.
580
Okay, so 600.
mil.
So it just
So it's-
about got the 4x.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was. It's deemed a success.
Still that's a great take.
Yeah. 579,055,000. So
Yeah, because even if you bump
580.
up the budget to like all the advertising and stuff like that, you're still you're still making a good chunk of change.
Yeah, I think that's why you got to get a 4X because you get all that middleman stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they actually made more money international. Domestic was 137.7. International was 441.3.
Oh,
Damn.
okay.
Yeah, they crushed it. Blu-ray sales
why.
24 mil.
Why would that be, though?
Because the rest of the world is still behind. And I don't mean that in a derogatory term.
Oh, why
if
would
you
they-
look at
why
some
would they-
certain things, when you go overseas, their like popular shit is stuff that was popular here 10 years ago.
Yeah, but
Because,
10
like, it
years
takes
ago it was
time
only
to, like-
2010.
No, I
it
get
wouldn't
what
have
you're
been
saying.
1985.
No, I get what you're saying. Like, sometimes
It's like-
that just happens.
I don't know, man.
I don't know. I mean, opening weekend it says
Plus, it was all very techie. So
yeah.
China's a huge.
China's definitely
That's a
super
huge
techie, yeah.
thing.
opening
But that's
weekend
a
they made
huge,
41.8.
box office. for them.
41.8.
41.8 opening weekend. So I mean, that's not a bad fucking
that's a good
number for
launch.
3 days.
Yeah, that's a good launch.
You know, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's like, oh shit.
I was happy to see it did well. I really liked the book. The book was, again, it was written for me, literally, like it was every single thing in the book. You know, and half of the, I understood and I got, and half of the riddles in the book, I was like playing along, trying to figure out the details of it.
See that's cool. Like,
That
something
is
like that
really
would make me
cool.
want. So something like that would make me want to read the book now. But I have a bad habit when I watch a movie and then read the book. I'm reading the book with the characters that I've seen,
Which is perfectly fine
which
in
is
this
fine.
case.
It actually kind of helps me get
All those
through a
characters
book.
exist.
Right. So, but like, if I was to read this book, I already have the image of Parsifal. I already know what he looks like. I already know
Yeah.
what he sounds like.
They
So when
did a
I'm
good
reading
job with
his
that.
part,
Yeah.
so
I think you'd be happy
when
with
I'm
what I'm
watching. If I was to ever read Harry Potter, I already know who he is.
Yeah.
It's Daniel Radcliffe. You're never gonna fucking
You'll
change
have that image in
I'll
your
have that
mind.
image, that sound. Hermione, I know who she is.
Well,
so
I
if I'm
don't
it useful
understand what her
when I
name
read the
sounds
books.
like.
Right. It doesn't say like Hermione
Hermione.
Hermione, whatever. Right. But if I was to ever read those books, like I already have the image, and that kind of helps me get along the book.
Yeah.
But what from you said though is that the book and the movie are so fucking separate. I might actually get mad at the book.
No, you'll love it. You'll love it. In
Okay,
fact,
so if-
I
okay,
have
so-
the audiobook version of it
do
also,
I.
and I'll send it to you.
Yeah, I have it.
And you just listen to it at work.
Yeah.
It's really good. It's really good.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
Because
just-
it's so different, and that's the good news. Is that like each of the three, keys are found in something completely unrelated to what you saw in the movie. Like there's almost no correlation. The final challenge when they get into the fortress, there's some similarities there, but other than that there really it's like. So you'd essentially be just reading the book brand new without really, and you know what the characters look like, and that's about
Okay.
it.
So it's just a different story, but I already know what the characters
Different
look
story. It's like part 2.
like. Okay. All right.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Nice.
The rewrite. You're reimagining.
All right. So let's rate this.
Rate it.
Rate it. Let's do it. Who's going first?
I'll go first.
Okay, Larry.
I'm gonna give it a 3. I'm basing that off of it was a fun watch. The nostalgia maybe bumps it up a little bit to like maybe like a 3.25, right? So I'm kind of like right there, 3.25. Because if someone was like, "Hey, you want to watch it again?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'll watch it again," because it was a fun.
Yeah.
I mean, again, like you said, like it got to a point that like I'm getting mad over nitpicky shit. Like, and I 100% admit that. Like, I'm not trying to hide behind it. I 100% get it. It's nitpicky shit. But for like 90% of the movie, like I was enjoying the shit out of it. So I would watch it again. That's a first parameter for me. But like a 3.25 is where I'm kind of sitting at.
Yeah, I'm sitting at a solid 3 for me. Because, again, like you said, it is a really fun movie, and I thought it was a good time watching it. And, like, when I'm watching The Shining, I'm like, no, don't do it. Like, I'm just sitting there like, this is so fun.
Don't do it.
You know? And seeing The Iron Giant was actually really cool for me, because that was a movie I had when I was a kid.
before your time. Like, wow.
No, not really.
I guess.
The Iron Giant, it was
Yeah,
like,
the Iron
it was
Giant.
not that far away.
Well, wait, were you born in 01?
2001, yeah.
Okay. All right, I guess.
Yeah, and the thing is, I had it on DVD.
Okay.
So I would watch it on like repeat.
Yeah.
So seeing the Iron Giant was like super cool. It's like, oh my god, it's
That's
him.
cool.
Oh,
Yeah.
like, and the like seeing his
was
eyes move
prominent,
and
yeah.
stuff. That was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I knew what the Iron Giant was. I never watched it though, because that was way too young for my stuff. I think I was like a teenager
Vin
at that
Diesel.
point.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, he did the voice of the Giant.
No.
Yeah, it's Vin Diesel.
Oh my god.
It's one of like the first voiceover works he ever did was he did the Iron Giant.
All right.
Yeah.
But
Isn't
yeah.
that funny? It's weird.
That is kind of weird.
That's weird.
But yeah, I thought it was really fun and like nostalgic where I could get it, you know. But it also was like, it wasn't crazy deep. Like, I know it had a really good message about go touch grass, which it was a really good way to do that message of touch grass.
Yeah.
But it was like, all right, you know, it was fun. It got its message across in a fun way. And like, it wasn't like earth shattering to me, you know, like it wasn't
preachy.
Amazingly good movie.
Yeah.
You know, so, but it was like, it was fun and I had a good time. So that's my spiel.
Cool.
Bruno?
Mine's going to be a little higher, and I think it's because the animation for me
99.
was
Iron Giant came out in
amazing.
1999.
Yeah.
All right, there you go.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
it was not that far away.
I was in my 20s. Like, yeah, I'm not watching
Like,
the
the Iron what? No.
You had other things to worry about at that
was in
point.
it. Harry Connick Jr., Vin Diesel, yeah.
Oh, Harry Connick Jr. was in that?
Yeah, John Mahoney from Frasier, Christopher McDowell. Yeah, there's a lot of famous people.
Where's the John
Cloris Leachman.
Mansley?
There's a lot of famous people in that movie. Who did voiceover.
A lot of them probably got their starts there, I bet.
Yeah, and some of them were just like old time, you know what I mean? Emmett Walsh, you know, a lot of these old timer actors that you've seen forever that were in there as well. So yeah.
Nice.
I mean, I loved it. I love that movie.
Nice. So I think I would go like, I'm pushing it a little bit, probably 4.5.
Oh, wow.
Well,
Damn.
look, remember, the animation for me was, we all talked about the animation was really good. And so like, it's almost fun to watch because like what you're seeing is enjoyable to the eye,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
So that was cool.
It's like looking at good food.
Yeah. The throwbacks for me were probably more than for you guys since I'm a little bit older. So like every part of the movie was a throwback, and it was a cool throwback, and they did a good job of referencing a bunch of shit. And then I think I'm bringing a little bit of the book into my analysis of it because the book had throwbacks, but it presented even better. Like it wasn't kind of a passing whatever. The throwback was part of a riddle, and it was well done. So I appreciated that. So I'd say between like 4.25, 4.5. Like I really enjoyed it. I would absolutely watch this movie anytime. If anybody was like, "Hey, let's throw that on," I'd be like, "Yeah, this is a fun movie to watch."
Yeah. Cool.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm at about 3 3/4. Similar to what Bruno was saying, the nostalgia of it, I thought the animation was great. I can't get it over a 4. I don't know why. I think there was some more nostalgia that I wanted, that some of the stuff didn't play out as much. You know, it's kind of like, it's in the background, and I would love to see more of it. And then some of the stuff that was like the constant stuff you saw was just like, I don't care. I don't care what this is about. But like some of the stuff that they put in there was really cool, and I wanted to see. Like there was a lot of Iron Giant, which I thought was awesome.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But there was definitely some like characters or vehicles or different things that I wanted to see them utilize more, and they just didn't. It was just kind of like a reference real quick and gone.
I gotta tell you, read the book. Like they do such a much better job.
I like the extra life coin.
Yes.
That was
neat.
cool.
That was
Who
actually
the fuck doesn't want
cool.
one of those?
That was in the book, but it's presented very differently. So I thought it was better in the book. But anyway, it was good. Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. All right, there it is, gang.
Yeah.
Coolio.
Ready Player One.
Yeah.
Love it. Nice
Suggested?
work.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
No.
Absolutely would. Like I said, like Bruno said, I would watch this anytime someone wants to watch it. I'll watch it, and I do. I go back to it every so often. I do. I catch. I think I have it on something, Apple TV or something. I have it somewhere where I own it, and I own the audiobook too. So I will go back and watch this every once in a while. I don't know, probably just a few months ago. I think I watched it way before we told we were going to do this. So yeah. So I didn't even have to like watch it again this week.
Yeah.
For the show, because it's been so recent since I watched it, and I've watched it that many times. So, yeah, definitely it sticks in my head a lot. So, awesome. All right, gang. Thank you so much, everybody. This was a great episode. If you guys liked it, check us out online, entertainmentrants.com, social media at Entertainment Rants, and you can find all the other podcasts in our Subculture Podcast Network at bio.link/subculturepod network. All right. Excellent work, everybody. What are we going to go do?
Rant. Let's rant.
Let's rant.
Rant it up. In the 80s,